Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. More about them later. Tom Brady was the starting quarterback of the New England Patriots for 20 years. The Patriots made the playoffs 17 times, made the Super Bowl 9 times, and won it 6 times. New England was the team to beat. That's no longer the case. Tom Brady dipped ahead of the 2020 season, and New England didn't make the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. The Patriots drafted Mac Jones that offseason, and New England returned to the postseason and ended up finishing 10-7 before being blown out in the wildcard round by the Bills. It appeared that New England was back on the path to success, but that wasn't the case in 2022. The New England Patriots lost 3 of their first 4 games of the season. The Patriots lost to the Dolphins, Ravens, and then Packers in overtime, with the lone win coming at Pittsburgh. Mac Jones started in the first 3 games before he ended up suffering an ankle injury. Brian Hoyer was supposed to take over in week 4, but he ended up going down early and was replaced by Bailey Zappi. Zappi won his first 2 career starts versus the Lions and Browns. Then in week 7 on Monday Night Football against the Bears, Mac returned, but was ultimately benched for Zappi, who also kind of struggled in that game. Mac Jones retained the starting job, and the Patriots won their next 3 games, 2 coming against the Jets and the other against the Colts. New England had a week 10 bye in between, and heading into week 12, the Patriots were 6-4 and on track to make the postseason, but the wheels ultimately fell off. New England only won 2 games for the rest of the year, those wins coming over Arizona and Miami. The Patriots lost 5 of their 7 to end the season, and 2 of those losses came to the Bills. The others, the Vikings, Raiders, and Bengals. The Patriots did have a chance to win in week 18 against a matchup at Buffalo, but they ended up losing 35-23 to miss the postseason and finish 8-9, good for 3rd best in the AFC East. The Patriots were used to being the champions of the league for years. And speaking of champions, today's video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is completely free to play, and you can either play casually or compete to be the best. Over 80 million people have downloaded the game already, and for good reason. It has amazing graphics and has over 650 unique champions to collect, with billions of ways to build and customize them. The game has incredible depth and endless content, with new champions and new updates coming every month. Personally, I've been grinding through the campaign to level up my champions. You grind XP and get loads of silver at the same time. Use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to download the game and get even more bonuses. Raid has also just added a new champion to the mix with the legendary Ronda Rousey, who you can get for free by playing Raid for 7 days between now and February 20th. You can download Raid Shadow Legends for free by clicking the link down in the description and play now. Thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Let's get right back to it. Josh McDaniels was the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots for 10 straight seasons before he was ultimately hired to be the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. That left the Patriots without an offensive coordinator, and Bill Belichick decided to turn to Matt Patricia for whatever reason. He spent 13 years in New England before he was hired to be the head coach of the Lions. Patricia only lasted 3 years in Detroit before he got the boot and returned to New England. Patricia was the Patriots' defensive coordinator for 6 seasons before he left for Detroit, but when he was rehired by New England in 2021, his role was a bit unknown. This past offseason, the Patriots said Patricia was going to be senior football advisor and offensive line coach. Belichick decided to not hire an actual offensive coordinator, again for whatever reason, and the duties ended up going to Matt Patricia. And let me tell you, it was a complete disaster. The Patriots had the 7th least yards per game and the 9th least rushing yards per game. The Patriots also only averaged 21.4 points per game. The New England Patriots offense struggled, and there is definitely no shortage of drama to come from it. Mac Jones reportedly went behind Bill Belichick's back to ask for help for the offense. Jones was clearly not very happy and began calling others to ask for ideas for the offense. Belichick ended up finding out that there were conversations going on behind his back, and it's safe to say that he wasn't very happy. That's a very dangerous spot to be in. It honestly makes Mac Jones look bad, even if it was obvious that the Patriots were in desperate need of a different offensive plan. The move to Matt Patricia did directly affect him, and it makes sense why he was frustrated, but it's really hard to know what that did to the trust between Belichick and Jones. Mac Jones has been fine at times in New England, but it was somewhat expected for him to be on thin ice, and it may be even worse than it seems on the surface. The New England Patriots took Mac Jones at 15 at the 2020 2021 NFL Draft. Mac was coming off of winning a national championship and leading the NCAA in passing yards as a junior at Alabama. Jones ended up beating out Cam Newton for the starting gig in the offseason, and Mac ended up playing really well and helped New England go on a 7-game winning streak that began in Week 7. New England ended up going 10-7 and made the postseason. Jones finished his rookie campaign with 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He was named a Pro Bowler and finished second in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting behind Jamar Chase. Mac Jones had a rough sophomore slump though, a lot likely due to the departure of offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia taking over play calling duties. He missed 3 games early in the season due to an ankle injury, but New England was 6-8 with Mac behind center. He passed for 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. His future right now is a bit cloudy. Mac is the designated starter for 2023, but I have no doubt that Bailey Zappi is going to try to come for that job. Bailey Zappi was selected by the New England Patriots in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft. He was coming off of a record-breaking year at Western Kentucky, where he broke the FBS record for passing yards and touchdowns in a season. He was the Patriots' 3rd stringer behind Mac Jones and Brian Hoyer to start his rookie season. Mac went down with an ankle injury in Week 3, and Zappi was the backup to Hoyer before Hoyer was injured. Zappi stepped in and passed for 100 yards and a touchdown in the loss. The Patriots ended up beating the Lions 29-0 in his first NFL start, and then he played pretty well in Week 6 versus Cleveland too, passing for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns in a victory. Zappi briefly played in Week 7 after Mac Jones was benched in his return from injury, but Zappi threw 2 picks and didn't look too hot. He went 2-0 starting and passed for 800 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions as a rookie. I'd expect him to at least have a chance to compete for the starting gig this offseason. It doesn't really matter if it's Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi behind center in New England next season. The offense has a lot that it needs to figure out. First and foremost, the Patriots really do need to try to find a true number 1 wide receiver. Jacoby Myers has been a happy surprise as an undrafted rookie back in 2019, but he's far from a number 1 talent. His contract is running out too, and New England will likely need to find a way to bring him back. He was the Patriots' leading receiver in 2022 with 800 yards, and nobody else had even 600. The Patriots roster was fine this year. There were some bright spots, but ultimately fine. Both Devontae Parker and Hunter Henry surpassed 500 yards. Damian Harris missed a lot of time due to a thigh injury on the year, so Ramondre Stevenson was really the number 1 back for New England, and he played really well. He rushed for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns, but the lack of a true talent on the Patriots roster is very concerning. The offensive coordinator and quarterback situations are definitely the priority, but I don't think many will argue that more things need to change on that offense. The New England Patriots are in a very odd spot where the majority of the system put in place that Tom Brady had so much success in is still intact. Bill Belichick is still running the show, and New England has been a lot better on the field than the roster should suggest. But there are problems. No Tom Brady is big. I mean, it appeared that Mac Jones may have been the quick fix, but now it's hard to know if he's truly the answer. Mac Jones looked good in his rookie season when Josh McDaniels was the play caller. I think that was probably the single most important piece to the 2022 Patriots: play calling. The defense was still good, like always, but clearly Matt Patricia didn't do well calling plays. New England is in the market for a new offensive coordinator. That single decision could make or break the career of Mac Jones and decide whether or not the Patriots are set up well for the future. The AFC East is an uphill climb now, with the Bills leading the way. But even both the Dolphins and Jets have been solid and are on their way to being true postseason threats. The Patriots didn't have to worry about division rivals for a long time, but the tide has since changed. The Patriots are now the odd man out and are in desperate need of an offensive coordinator to come in and save the day, and ultimately make Mac Jones look like a serviceable quarterback like he did when he was a rookie. Thank you again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video, and don't forget to click the link in the description and start playing today.